We go, doing it live. We are live. Sig is rolling his eyes, and I'm pushing buttons like this.
You got a team, here's a word to the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to Football Guys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy.
Part 2 of the Week 8 preview here on the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom, and a Battle of Pennsylvania. Bloom, you're a Western PA guy.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, we're sorry, Steelers. We're sorry, because, oh boy, is Philadelphia going to create problems. But on the other side, the passes we're seeing from Kenny Pickett, got to slow down when you say that, have shown that the kid's flashing. Okay, so it's not perfect. It's pretty rough out there. The one to Freiermuth, though, where he threw it at like his crotch and it made it through, like there's no window there, but he found a way to make that completion. So you're seeing a little bit of magic with Pickett and some things to work on and to build on. It might be pretty rough this week, though.
It's going to be really rough. Did you see that the Eagles traded for Robert Quinn? Howie Roseman, man.
Did you see Roquan Smith getting choked up?
Yeah.
At the press conference? That's what it means to you, man. I love Roquan.
Yeah. Well, and hey, Roquan's going to be a free agent. You know, so look, and that's a good moment, Cease, to bring up about, again, the family element of football. And a lot of times I think there's more of, we don't attribute enough to the locker room and the feeling in the locker room of team success or failure, or the tracks with success and failure, right? Yes, the Battle of Pennsylvania. See, this is a good moment since you brought up that I'm from Western PA. I'm Yinzer. That Pennsylvania is like 3 different states. I think Texas is 5 different states. I think it's actually in the Texas Constitution. They can break it up into 5 different states.
Okay.
Pennsylvania is 3 different states. And certainly Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are very different in their histories, very different in the kind of people that settled there, even like the ethnicities and backgrounds of the people that settled there. Even though this is a game that only gets played once every 4 years. I don't know how to do the math now with the 17th game. I'm just going to say once every 4 years. There was a time, Cease, you might remember, in 2004, we were supposed to get the Battle of Pennsylvania Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick messed that up. So we always go down memory lane here because we don't really want to think about how the Steelers are going to look in this game. Yeah. And Kenny Pickett would have been good for like a Bill Walsh West Coast offense, right? Quick decisions, get the ball out quickly, short range stuff, set up, run after catch.
Yep.
Stretching the field, you will see. And a defense like Philadelphia, they're going to be able to take advantage of that. You know, Darius Slay and George Pickens should be fun to watch. CD Deuce, he's going to be ball hawking. He's going to be a pain. Really, the Philadelphia defense is your best play here, honestly. But Najee Harris is going to get his work. I mean, this is just the morose Steelers offense. Najee Harris is going to get like 80 total yards on 20 touches, maybe a touchdown in garbage time. Pat Freiermuth, you said it. Penn State, he's from that 3rd state in the middle, Cease. He's going to get a lot of catches. I mean, you're going to see Kenny Pickett is going to throw a lot of short range passes. So for PPR, we like this, but there's not going to be a lot of big plays, not going to be a lot of touchdowns. Deontay Johnson's going to get you 8-10 points in a PPR league. Chase Claypool's coming up to that level. And then there's that in the background too, because see, if you monitor the Pittsburgh media, they're not just dismissing the Chase Claypool trade rumors. They're not just saying that'll never happen.
Right.
A few of the writers like that actually kind of makes sense. So we'll see if this is the last game in a Steelers uniform for Chase Claypool. And what we don't want to talk about is how the Steelers are going to look against the Eagles. What Eagles fans want to talk about is the Phillies are in the World Series and the Eagles might just follow them right into the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Championships abound. Well, maybe. Yeah, Eagles are built like that, and they make that sort of run. And I'm not a Rams fan by any means, but I do like the go for it mentality. You know, when a team gets to a certain point and it's a trade deadline and they grab a Robert Quinn, hell, the Jets. We applauded the Jets yesterday. You go out and get a James Robinson. How many teams in years past would just sit on their hands and be like, oh, well, we lost our guy. We can't be the same. And the Eagles didn't even lose anybody. They're just like, let's go get better. Yeah. And so that's awesome. Let's go get better. So the Eagles on the offensive side, they're pretty damn good. From a fantasy lens, probably want some Eagles in this week.
Yeah, you do. Because they're coming off a bye week, so they're going to be healthy. And see, the Robert Quinn move says to me, We expect to face Josh Allen or maybe Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl move, and you should be thinking that far ahead. There's a tipping point between being overconfident and just accepting your destiny or your responsibility and not accepting less than that. And I think that's where the Eagles are right now. The Steelers are maybe there'll be a speed bump. I don't know. You obviously have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert in your lineups. You love that you are committed to Miles Sanders. Again, we'll forever look back at Miles Sanders saying, "Don't pick me for fantasy." Why'd you do that to us, man? We wanted to pick you until you said that, and we should have, because they are committed to him. He's looking good. Another Penn State product there. And yeah, this is going to be rough, but Eagles fans, Philadelphia sports fans, enjoy it. In 1979, the Steelers and Pirates both won. Pittsburgh was the city of champions, and it's not going to be quite in the same calendar year, but we'll see. Philadelphia, you're right to be thinking. And even the Flyers are playing well right now.
Yes. You'll know that, Bloom. I won't. But
really good game in Madison Square. I can't say that.
Madison Square Garden.
Amendola.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. It is Titans and Texans up next here on the Audible. And the Titans side is, where's the health status of Ryan Tannehill? Seen in a boot after the game, which sends panic through everyone. But it seems like he's going to be fine, Bloom, I guess. But of course, we know what the Titans want to do. It's Derrick Henry smash. Okay, Hulk smash. Go. But Tannehill, maybe Malik Willis. I don't know. We'll watch the injury report. Recording this on Thursday morning.
Yeah, I think Tannehill was made available to the media with no walking boots. He's going to play. You're not going to play anybody from this passing game. We're looking ahead maybe to week 9 when Tannehill and the Titans have to play Kansas City. That might be when this passing game they have to dust it off and use it. Not this week against Houston. It's going to be a lot of Derrick Henry. And just remember, if they wear out Derrick Henry again, Dontrell Hilliard is there. But the big question I have here is this team really going to win the division again? Taking care of business against the Texans is a way to show, yeah, they can do that.
They can do that for sure. Colts side. I almost said Titans side again. Texans side. Excuse me. Jeez Louise. AFC South.
It's all those. They run together. All those.
I was going to say, like, it's kind of all muddled in the AFC South.
It's a morass of mediocrity.
Yes. I guess we're watching the health status of Nico Collins, right? I guess it seems like he's going to be okay. Not that fantasy GM should be relying on anyone. Maybe Brandon Cooks is like a what the heck flex. Is he my sleeper of the week? Probably not. But let's talk about Dameon Pierce. And well, looking over those, Nico Collins, by the way, groin, did not practice on Wednesday. And then the confusing, I really had to slow down on the newswire, Bloom, because they got rid of Tyler Johnson and they picked up Tyron Johnson. So Tyler Johnson is gone and Tyron Johnson. So you have Minnesota. I just went back to college. I was like, I got Minnesota. I got Oklahoma State.
Right.
So the Minnesota guy's gone. The Oklahoma State guy's there. Why am I talking about this? To fill time, because there's not much to say about the Texans.
No, there's not. Just make sure you pick up the Michael Carter with the RB beside his name, not CB, when you're looking at the Jets. Dameon Pierce and Tennessee's defense is getting better. Tennessee defense.
Is Darrell Ogunbowale going to do something?
Yeah, he can catch some passes out of the backfield, a 3-headed backfield. That's great. But it's Dameon Pierce still in your lineup. Nico Collins is hurt. You're probably going to see a lot of Philip Dorsett, Chris Moore, Jordan Akins. He's back. And you would say this is a Brandon Cooks game, right? Nico Collins banged up. This is a Brandon Cooks game. Brandon Cooks, he's had those non-injury absences from practice. We know that there was, I think, a pretty tight connection between him and Jack Easterby, who's not there now.
Yeah.
And is he going to be somebody to get traded? We're going to see some wide receivers. Does Mike Gesicki count as a wide receiver? We're going to see some wide receivers change teams in the next few days. Cooks could be one. And Cecil, you even have to ask, so when we see inactives on Sunday, we're going to be watching closely for those healthy scratches, because the last thing you want to do is get a player hurt right before you're going to trade him. So again, what are we thinking about in this game? We're thinking about the trade deadline, not really what's going to happen in the game.
Exactly. Jerry Jeudy healthy scratch, huh?
What?
Washington Commanders. There you go. Washington Commanders. It's a yellow ball with Taylor Heineke. And as we said in the recap show, the first 3 passes could have all been pick sixes.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God, he is playing YOLO ball. And then he settled down.
Mm-hmm.
So now going up against the Colts, and we got plenty to talk about the Colts side. That's pretty interesting. I'm not going to say exciting, Bloom. But on the Washington side, okay, Heineke, YOLO ball. That's good for Curtis Samuel. That's good for Terry McLaurin. Maybe more dash of De'Ami Brown. Is he my sleeper of the week? Sleeper, Bloom. Let's talk about Washington and that YOLO ball with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, just like riding a bicycle, and he got it straightened out. Little turbulence on takeoff last week. See, what if they had the Carson Wentz revenge game and Carson Wentz didn't show up, right? Carson Wentz isn't part of it. Taylor Heineke will do his part to get revenge for Carson Wentz. And you know that Heineke's going to throw to McLaurin, and his prospects are up. Samuel, still a big part of this offense. Like you said, De'Ami Brown could be back in this game. Logan Thomas could be back in this game, but you're going to focus on McLaurin and Samuel in the passing game. In the backfield, we see J.D. McKissick, who I like, but maybe it is better to have Antonio Gibson. That's the last. When was the last time I accidentally mentioned Antonio Brown on the show? Because there's no reason to bring him up now. Antonio Gibson taking some of J.D. McKissick's snaps because he's more dangerous, because he does have that wide receiver skill that he showed on the toe tap touchdown, and he could be your sleeper of the week here, as you have now Brian Robinson doing the dirty work, and Washington is a team in this NFL. Again, if they're not on the list, the short list of good teams, Washington can play with just about anybody. And with Taylor Heineke, they've got some spring in their step.
They do have some spring in their step. So what kind of spring do we see in the Colts side? Now without Matt Ryan, he's third string. And there you go. Here comes Ellinger. And, well, I got a Longhorns hat around here somewhere. But, okay, rushing quarterback. Can't really throw, but a rushing quarterback. So, sneaky sleeper, Sam Ellinger, sleeper of the week, sleeper.
Super flex sleeper. And we probably have to play him, for some of us, in super flex 2 quarterback.
If Tim Tebow was a top 10 fantasy quarterback, there's no reason why Sam Ellinger couldn't be.
The gamers, the all-time gamers. To also ask you this, Cease. Benjamin Solak. He's a rising star, man. Benjamin Solak is absolutely on the very short list of football writers that when I see something he put out there, I immediately go and read it.
Right.
And he sees this Sam Ellinger move as a sign that maybe NFL's getting it, that mobility at quarterback is king now. That mobility is the top level sorter for quarterback, more than being able to sit back there and take defenses apart in the pocket, right? Times they are changing. Ellinger, you will see what he can do with his mobility, but I think what you do here is you're setting up Jonathan Taylor as much as Jonathan Taylor can handle. In some ways, the ankle injury helps because there's just wear and tear that he didn't have. They're very much in this division. I think that Sam Ellinger can probably support one wide receiver. Now, will it be Michael Pittman on the outside, or will it be Paris Campbell on the inside? Paris Campbell, I think Matt Waldman put out there a good analogy for the role he plays as a kind of a Keenan Allen role in this offense. So we might see Paris Campbell emerge in this one. I didn't include him in my waiver wire column because I thought that the Ellinger move really took the air out of the balloon in the passing game, but maybe I'll regret that. And maybe if Paris Campbell's still out there, I do think that one of these guys could be supported, and it might be one of those things where it depends on matchups. And then the other thing I'm going to be watching here is the tight end, because we know that Frank Reich can scheme up plays for the tight end, and they have 3 good receiving tight ends, including Jelani Woods in the red zone. So it makes sense to me that when you put in a new quarterback, you're going to use the plays that work the best in the playbook and let it sort out. And maybe the tight ends go back. We saw one game where the tight ends had about 180 yards receiving against Tennessee earlier this year. So there's a lot to sort out. This is a little more of a fact-finding game, and I think you can probably judge by how Jonathan Taylor does whether the Colts are going to win this one.
Yeah, and that's kind of the plan. That sounds like a Frank Reich plan. Just go out there and win instead of maybe trust your quarterback to do a little bit more. And I will be watching curiously to see which of those 3 tight ends that he prefers. Because Kylan Granson can play.
Yeah.
Jelani Woods could play. You've got some options there. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. And perhaps more fun than our next game, Bloom. San Francisco, huh? Come on now. Let's go against the Rams. Speaking of healthy scratches, We'll get to the Rams side in a little bit, but the 49ers, okay, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, yes. What's that mean for Jimmy? Division game, Rams, blah, blah, blah. But it's just more fact-finding of how McCaffrey's impact is going to change the structure of this offense. That's what we'll be watching and perhaps even mining this week.
Yeah, this game, when the 49ers and the Rams get together, usually it's a San Francisco game. It feels like San Francisco gets the drop, especially it's Shanahan against McVay more than anything else. You know, it's too bad in some ways that McVay won that Super Bowl. Otherwise, we'd have that Spider-Man meme with Shanahan and McVay, like the geniuses who can't actually get over the hump, right? It's hard to say. The thing in the background of this game too, Cease, this division is wide open. We talk about how much the AFC South and NFC South suck, and those divisions are wide open.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this division sucks, but it is wide open. It's there for the taking for any one of the 4 teams in the division. So this is a pretty big game. What you're watching when San Francisco has the ball, Christian McCaffrey, a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Is Kyle Shanahan humble enough to take a back seat in terms of his fingerprints on the game plan and let it just be a Christian McCaffrey game? And it's funny, sees how where our mind goes without us even telling it to, because again, and I'm not trying to amplify this to get Matt Waldman in trouble, but when we were speculating last Thursday night, a few hours before the trade went down, of Christian McCaffrey in a San Francisco uniform, do you know what Waldman said? He said that if Kyle Shanahan can't use McCaffrey the right way, that he might have to go on some like multi-state drive to hurt him. And he said, I'm just kidding. He's not really going to hurt him. But you wonder if that's the fear, right? That we're going to see Christian McCaffrey in a committee with Jeff Wilson. Hopefully it was the first game. They didn't have him in red zone and third down in those specialty situations. Now it's time to unleash him. Now, if that works against the Rams, then we won't see that supersized passing game we've seen with the San Francisco defense letting us down. We do have Deebo Samuel a little banged up in this one. Let's watch that. If Deebo Samuel is not 100%, makes it easier to play Ayuk, makes it easier to play George Kittle. And we'll see. So we have the variable of how McCaffrey is going to fit into this offense, how much of the pie of production he takes up. We have the passing game somewhat dependent on the defense. But then again, it's the Rams. So the Rams aren't striking fear in anyone's hearts this year. They are coming out of the bye. Sean McVay is pretty smart. So can the Rams come out of the bye with a better offense than we've seen so far this year? Can they take advantage of the San Francisco problems? I have doubts.
I have serious doubts about the Rams outside of Cooper Kupp. So There you go. There's your Kupp take and dash of Tyler Higbee. You do have Travis Kelce, but if you had Kelce and Higbee on your fantasy team, like you're fine at tight end. You're fine. Only 2 teams on bye, both the Chiefs and the Chargers. So, okay, let's talk about the Rams, and then we'll still wait to see what the backfield looks like after the trade deadline.
Right. It won't include Cam Akers. I know that much. And this is a team they were in on Christian McCaffrey. I think that they offered a very similar package. And maybe even we're going to include Akers and Carolina's Akers. We don't need that. So the offensive line's in trouble. The offense hasn't really been getting the engine to turn over. You had a week during the bye to try to figure things out. And we saw even going into the bye, they were using more Brandon Powell. They were using more Ben Skowronek. Allen Robinson actually came alive. So we're going to see a more diverse passing game. Are we going to see some new wrinkles to mask the problems? Remember, Joseph Noteboom, the left tackle, goes down right before the bye. Darrell Henderson is a play here with low ceiling, and Cooper Kupp is a play. I'm not sure there's anybody else. Matthew Stafford to cover Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, I guess. But I think this is going to be a kind of an ugly game. I think this is going to be a game where you have teams that have problems they're trying to solve. And when they play each other, I forget who it was that said this. I was going to steal it from I like this term, Cease, a rock fight. You're just throwing rocks at each other, right? Right? Because, I mean, these are not the teams that played in the NFC title game last year. And I think that you're going to see, some potentially ugly football, but some football that could go a long way towards pushing one of these teams to the front of the pack in the division.
When David beat Goliath, wasn't he cheating? Was he using like a slingshot or something with his rocks?
Technology.
Yeah. You know what word I love that you use, Bloom? I have to
What's
say
that?
this before I forget.
Yeah.
Whenever you've said it in 2 shows in a row, so it
Yeah.
makes me happy when you say morose.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I always think of Chasing Amy, and when Silent Bob and Jay go see Ben Affleck in the booth, and he's like, "Look at this morose blanky right here."
An anchor, right? Wasn't the argument over he's just an anchor?
Yeah.
See, all that
You're
comic,
a tracer. You're a tracer. Your mother's a tracer.
all that comic book centric humor now is really hitting home, huh?
That's for sure. Oh, and there's I can't say it for Sorry Joe purposes, but there's a T-shirt in that that is being reprinted. That's featured in the very beginning of that movie. Marvel can blank.
Yeah.
And that's actually being reprinted now, so I'm gonna buy one.
Yeah. Wait long enough.
It was banned at Comic-Con. Like,
Gotta get one then.
Exactly. Gotta get Giants and Seahawks. Dude, this is
It's fun.
think of how we looked at this game before the season, right?
Playoff preview.
Right. I mean, my God. Giants and Seahawks is going to be fun, going to be good, and it's going to be interesting, fact-finding, whatever. You know what the Giants are going to want to do, right? We know the Giants want to take Saquon Barkley and shove him down your throat. Okay. Can they do that against Seattle? Yeah. I mean, they do it against pretty much anybody. So then it's on a Daniel Jones, a Wan'Dale Robinson. Speaking of wide receivers on the trade block, I don't think it's a 1-for-1, but if there was a Kenny Golladay, Jerry Jeudy deal, like I would take that. Honestly, I don't think the Giants would take that. But so like, okay, you look at that. Kadarius Toney, Bloom, right? I'm mentioning all the Giants receivers that aren't going to play, but like, okay, we're going to see some movement here because the Giants haven't figured out. These are our guys. These who we like. This who's going to play. This is how we win. Daniel Jones, go run, take care of business. Can you tell the energy drinks kicking in?
Yeah. Well, because this is an energetic game. See, sometimes it's really funny. I talk about this show within the show of how Cecil Lammey doing covering the Broncos. There's a third show that's kind of the meta show of how does talking about these players or these teams affect us, right? There are games that we just come up with something else to talk about, or we take a trip down memory lane because there's not much to talk about, or really it's just depressing to talk about it. This is not a depressing game to talk about. This is uplifting. And I suppose both of these teams stand for, well, just how wrong our assumptions can be, and also stand for all of us that the story is still being written. Whatever other people are telling you your story is, the story is still being written. And it's really fun to watch these teams write their stories. Daniel Jones, you got to put Daniel Jones in as a potential, certainly if you're picking him up to cover Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, you're loving that because they're unleashing him as a runner. I think it was Dan Orlovsky who showed how at the end of the game last week against Jacksonville, they just ran power. And then like on the 5th time, the naked bootleg and Daniel Jones just ran for like 20 yards. Right. That's good old school football, right? I mean, that's boxing style almost. I'm going to hit you with the right, hit you with the right, hit you with the right. Now you're covering up. Boom, here's the left. Love it. And that's enough because Daniel Jones got wheels for him to be a high ceiling play. And it is the Saquon Barkley offense, and it's the Wan'Dale Robinson offense. I think Darius Slayton probably will see a lot of Tariq Woolen. Can't mention Tariq Woolen enough. And this is definitely a game that I think both of these teams are far ahead of what we expected. And they're both coming in feeling good. And all these guys rehabilitating themselves. Daniel Jones, Darius Slayton, and maybe our favorite, and you hear something going around this morning, sees Geno Smith. Geno Smith, how many millions of dollars has Geno Smith made this year? Steve?
Oh, he's printing his own money.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve.
Right. The gross national product of one of those islands in the South Pacific.
Yeah. No, he's doing great work. Great work. We got Joe in, and who was it? Jimmy said, has anyone pitched Sorry Joe Plus to him yet? No, Joe, but that's coming.
Joe, remind us in our next when we have a sit down. You talked to Joe today, I think.
Yeah, I do talk to Joe today.
The Sorry Joe Plus. Sorry Joe Plus is coming.
Sorry Joe Plus. Okay. SorryJoePlus.com. Watch, somebody's going to buy it right now and squat on it. You pay me $1 million for SorryJoePlus.com. Oh, Seattle, man. Seattle. Hey, and I'm the guy, and Seahawks fans are chirping me, which is fine. Bloom, you know how
Mhm.
fun it is. You brought up my basement scout comment that I retweeted, which is funny. But like Seahawks fans are chirping me because I was the guy who was like, this is Broncos lost to a team. I think I went on K Adams show and I was like, they lost to a team that's not going to win 3 games in the month of September. Like now they're going. They're rocking and rolling, man. Now the DK Metcalf thing, Pete Carroll's infuriating to me.
Yeah.
Like Pete Carroll is infuriating because he's like, we just don't know. Like it's just competition and chomping his gum and like DK's probably not going to play. Probably not going to play. So we'll watch it. We'll see where else they go. Obviously, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Goodwin, D. Eskridge. Can I get a little love for D this week? Come on now. And then Kenneth Walker. I love him. I absolutely love him. I mean, a young back that gets it, that has everything, that has moves, that has burst, that has power, that has patience. So, yes, this is a clash of the Titans
Yeah.
that we never would have expected 8 weeks ago.
Yeah. Does Kenneth Walker have a nickname yet?
No, but he should.
He should, because I'm remembering Kentucky basketball. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Mm.
Remember Kenny Skywalker?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't know, but he deserves a nickname. And maybe I jinxed the Jags. I bloomed them, the Jags defense, by saying their linebackers needed to have a nickname. This is the Kenneth Walker offense now, as it should be. So again, see, this Clash of the Titans is taking us back to like 70s, 80s football, right?
Yeah.
The running backs imposing their will, and can the defenses slow them down? But you will see Geno fall to who? Because DK Metcalf, like we talked about, Pete Carroll, give it to me straight, Doc. He's not going to give it to you straight. So we may or may not see DK Metcalf, even if he's active. I'm not sure how much I'm trusting him. Tyler Lockett's got a hamstring. It points to Marquise Goodwin, had 2 touchdowns last week. He is absolutely one of the sleeper of the week candidates this week. And maybe Will Dissly or Noah Fant. Certainly you would think if the wide receivers are a little bit shorthanded or banged up, that you're looking more to the tight ends that they've used very well. And I'm going to watch D. Eskridge. I'm not saying watch him for fantasy. I still think for fantasy, for dynasty leagues, we're not giving up on a second round pick who basically lost his first year to injury halfway
The dude can
through.
fly. He can absolutely fly.
And what did he get high marks for last week? It's a Kenneth Walker team. So what's important, Cecil? Blocking. And whenever you're watching Eskridge in college, you think, oh, he's going to be a really good blocking wide receiver. Well, he is now. You're a Seattle Seahawks wide receiver. You're a blocking wide receiver. So that's what turns 10-yard runs into 74-yard runs, right? So this is fun. This is great. Little did we know, Cecil, that this is the marquee game, not San Francisco, LA. And then we're going to watch a game on Sunday night. Well, we might not be watching it for more than a half unless you really like Aaron Rodgers' Schadenfreude.
And that is the thing for sure.
It's a big thing.
He does it to himself. To himself. Green Bay and Buffalo. Now, this is the game when you look at the schedule, you'd be like, this is the game. And nope.
No.
We just talked about the game.
Yeah.
So Green Bay and Buffalo, 41-3, 35-10. Like, what's this going to be? And the Green Bay side, like, unless they figure out, and maybe Matt LaFleur will do this. LaFleur, that was the security guard in Mallrats. So
it's a Kevin Smith show.
It is a Kevin Smith show. Where's my hockey jersey? Right? Fat man on Batman. The Green Bay side, Bloom, if they did figure it out, and this is assuming rational coaching, which is dangerous, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, just blah, 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 as much as you can. Keep Josh Allen cold on the sidelines. It's football 101. Yeah. I don't know if they'll do it because they have Aaron Rodgers. Like, I can do it. Like, I can do it. Like, no, you can't. You can't. And with these receivers, somebody was chirping me last night in person at Old Chicago when I was there with Derek Wolfe. He was my muscle. And my God, what a large human being. There's a picture like him and me. And I'm skinny now, but I'm not small by any means. And like Wolf's just like this gargantuan next to me. But anyway, so somebody was chirping me about Sammy Watkins. I was like, seriously? You're going to chirp me about Sammy Watkins? What's the matter with Sammy? Come on. I'm like, he sucks. Anyway, Green Bay side's pretty ugly, Bloom, unless they figure out to lean on those
Rational
running
coaching,
backs.
yeah.
I don't know if they'll do that.
Yeah, you wonder, and Aaron Rodgers is the kind of quarterback that we already know from the past that, there can be a play called and he'll just be, no, I'm not going to run that play. And even
Right.
go one step further and say to the wide receiver, if you run that play, I'm not throwing to you.
Right.
Like, and not just this play. Like, I'm just going to freeze you out and it seems like we're in the middle of some sort of power struggle now because you have Aaron Rodgers saying, if players are making mistakes, they shouldn't be on the field. Who's that directed at? It's directed at the coach, not the individual players. So we'll watch. Christian Watson was back at practice. Samari Torrey, more rookies. That's all they really have to go. Again, a trade. I think Mike Gesicki was mentioned. I can't remember the NFL insider as a possible. Could a tight end be an answer to the wide receiver problems? Maybe something. Do something. But for this game, the something is grinding out 7 and 8 minute drives, and that's what AJ Dillon is for. So will they do it? AJ Dillon, I mean, he's just a what the heck flex at this point, but it would make a lot of sense for him to touch the ball 20 times in this game, 20 times in the first half. He's fresh, right? He's not ground down. And then there's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones might catch another 9 or 10 balls here. But really, when we step back from this, Cease, check your free agents to see if the Buffalo defense was dropped during their bye, because now we've come all the way around to Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback that we're targeting with our defense. How did that happen?
I know. How did it happen? And Buffalo side, well, how does it happen? And again, Bloom, we have a healthy appreciation and love for Buffalo. We have a healthy appreciation and love for the Buffalo Bills and for Bills Mafia. I've always said it. My best friend's a Bills fan. I want you all to win the Super Bowl this year. Go do it, Buffalo. Okay, do it. Do it for your town. Do it for the Mafia. But make a move at the trade deadline. Please, because you're seeing teams now, and we're getting clear delineation into who's good and who's not good. We're at that point, we're finally learning that. It's only week 8, Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Push your chips in and make some sort of move if you can. I mean, you got Vaughn, everything in the offseason, that's fine, but this is just kind of the new NFL where trades are being used at the deadline for teams that are close to try to push themselves over the top. Buffalo, you should have been in on the Christian McCaffrey a little bit more, whatever. Whoever's out there, whoever can help, offense, defense, whatever, make it happen, because I'd love to see this team win it all.
So, Cease, I'll offer a counterpoint, okay? Unlike the Eagles, the Bills are not having a quarterback on a rookie contract. Right. So I think they're much more concerned about long-term financial health. And the other thing is, I'll go one more step with this. So they do basically have a trade deadline acquisition, Tre'Davious White. That's their trade deadline acquisition. But I think this is more of an open floor question. So a running back, I mean, I think that a running back, a hammer, because Zach Moss hasn't been that guy. And I know Cam Akers has a lot of connections to the team. So maybe it's picking up Cam Akers when he's dropped. It's just claiming him, right, or trying to trade a conditional draft pick for him. I don't know if they want to do that. Maybe it's Kareem Hunt for a 4th, bringing the receiving running back. I'm not sure what the move is. That's the other thing is what do they need except maybe a power running back? Anything else? I mean, you say a cornerback, but they're going to get Tre'Davious White, a safety.
You can never have too many pass rushers. I know that's way more expensive. I'll counter your first counter though, Bloom, as we're not even talking about the Bills, but like we're talking about the Bills. So everyone ride with us here.
Yeah.
The salary cap's a myth.
Well, that's
the salary cap's a myth. I think teams use it because here's the secret in the NFL. And oh boy, Bloom, if you opened up a can of worms, because I'm going to talk about corporations. They don't want to pay these guys.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay. Oh, we could, but the salary cap. Oh my God, we love you, but the salary cap. Will you take a discount?
Yeah.
Yeah. These corporations, these NFL teams are not good. They do not have the best interest of their players in mind. So when they, the salary cap, it's a myth.
That's fair.
A myth. There's always money. That's always the money
in the banana stand. Cease. I'll say this, and if you want to dig deeper on this subject, look at how the NFL treats guarantees and signing bonuses and how teams have to have the money in escrow. And this is what was happening with the Raiders. It's not a question of the cap. Sometimes it's a question of cash on hand. And that's a little bit different. But you're right, Cease, that still comes back to paying the players. Because if you're a billionaire, if you have to put $40 million in escrow for a signing bonus, well, what's the big deal? What are you going to have to eat at Arby's the next day instead of having duck l'orange or whatever you have? Rack of lamb. Allen to Diggs. And the thing is, this Green Bay defense, we would have looked at this and said, that's going to be a good matchup, right? That front seven, those cornerbacks, Allen to Diggs, Allen to Davis, Allen to Khalil Shakir, maybe coming out of the bye. So we always see this with bye week adjustments, and rookies may be ready to take on more. Isaiah McKenzie, more mistakes than plus plays. Devin Singletary, who's been outstanding. And that's another reason why getting a running back, what hasn't Devin Singletary done? And when they use Devin Singletary more, he does more. So maybe, again, that your trade deadline acquisition is just giving him 15 to 18 touches a game because he's doing what they're asking him to do. And yeah, Buffalo at home, coming out of the bye, Aaron Rodgers. I'll tell you where they don't eat duck l'orange, Buffalo.
Yeah, that's right, Buffalo, where they break tables and they'll be fired up to take it to Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers is one of those players, like, you just love to see him lose. Fans love it. Players love it.
Yeah.
I brought up the Travis LeBoy. I brought up
Who
the
was
Travis
it?
LeBoy story
Phillip
last night.
Rivers, right?
And Ben
Roethlisberger, yeah.
Yeah, because I asked Wolfie, I was like, do you have any autographs to like players? Do you do the jersey swap thing? Because I didn't think he did. And he didn't, except for Ben Roethlisberger. And I said, why Ben? And he said, my very first sack was against Ben. So in the final game that I played with against him and with the Ravens, I just asked him, like, hey, can I have a jersey? So, and then I think him and Ben are going to go hunting together.
Awesome.
Yeah. Over, what is it? Ohio Valley. Ben lives over there now. Like, is it Ohio Valley? What is it?
He's
over
from
by,
Finley. He's from
West
Finley.
Virginia and stuff. And
I don't know where well, that's like the tri-state area. You got the Panhandle, West Virginia, Wheeling, West Virginia, and Ohio, and our good old southwestern Pennsylvania. Okay. Come on down there. Lots of hunting. We got the first day deer season off in my high school, and I did not go hunting though.
Oh, that sounds like a rural area. Let's talk about Monday Night Football, and right there in Ohio somewhere, Bloom. If it's past on the other side of the Mississippi River, I'm like, it's over there somewhere. it's the East. I name all the states on the other side of the Mississippi, but like, okay, so somewhere over in Ohio, it is Bengals and it is Browns and it is Monday Night Football before we get to our sleeper of the week. Sleeper. So Bengals side, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
All of your Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyds. Yes. Could we get a dash more of Hayden Hurst? I don't know. Joe Mixon, maybe Samaje Perine is my sleeper of the week.
Maybe.
And then, of course, Joe Burrow doing his thing. The Browns are going to put up a fight, but the Bengals should be too much for them.
Yeah, we got to remember in these divisional games, things can go askew. Things can go a little opposite expectations. And I feel like Cincinnati, Cleveland is a game. It's going to have a lot of offense. It's going to have a lot of points. So you have the Bengals offense right now is kind of like one of those advancing armies that's just leaving destruction in their wake. And that you can see on the horizon, they're coming for your town next, Cleveland. And yeah, Joe Burrow, this is going to be a big game for him. Everybody, Higgins, Boyd, you got to keep in. Hurst is a fine tight end to replace Travis Kelce or Gerald Everett this week. Of course, Jamar Chase. Let's watch the practice reports because, again, he had a hip injury coming in, left for a few plays, did most of his damage in the first half. Just watching. Just always have to, and it isn't necessarily even watching to whether you're going to play Chase on Monday night. If he's active, you're playing him. But is this something that could be a situation that they're having to maintain? All the more reason to make sure you keep Tyler Boyd in coming off of his big game. And maybe this is a T. Higgins game. But we're at this situation now with Cincinnati. And we'll see one of our loyal chat room folks, Bengals honk, reminded me when I said Mahomes and Allen about Philadelphia. What about Joe Burrow? Yeah, okay, Joe Burrow too. And Robert Quinn will help with that too. Either way, you're looking at whoever you're facing out of the AFC. It's going to be one of those quarterbacks and one who's hottest. That's I mean, by definition, the quarterback that makes it out of the AFC is the one who probably played the best in the playoffs. The one playing the best right now is Joe Burrow, and that's bad news for Cleveland.
That's bad news for Cleveland on Halloween night. I've seen the future, Bloom. People dressed like dogs barking in Cleveland. Happy Halloween, everyone. That's what you get. And the Brown side is, well, they're trying, man. They're trying. Will Kareem Hunt be a healthy scratch? Like, so much intrigue there. And then who in the hell is Jacoby Brissett even going to be throwing to? because Njoku's banged up, or get your Harrison Bryant ready. Like, I don't know. Okay. Should be as much Nick Chubb as you can handle. Again, football 101. Keep Joey B over on the sideline cold.
Yeah, a lot of Nick Chubb, but how long can that happen? This could be a Kareem Hunt game. Now, Kareem Hunt, according to at least Pro Football Talk, I don't know what if Cleveland can win this game, they want to keep Kareem Hunt. If they lose this game, you may see him traded in the next 18 hours because the trade deadline comes up pretty quickly. But also, if they're behind in the second half, it could be a Kareem Hunt game just because he's more of the passing down back. It is going to be a Harrison Bryant game. I'm excited for this. Again, I'll mention he's a Matt Waldman favorite. And that with David Njoku out, with Pharaoh Brown, I don't know if he's going to be out, definitely banged up. It is going to be Harrison Bryant because, again, Jacoby Brissett is probably going to throw 40, 45 passes in this one. You like Amari Cooper, another potential sleeper of the week, Donovan Peoples-Jones. You're going to have all hands on deck for this passing game to try to keep up as one JB tries to keep up with another.
One tries to keep up with another. It is the Audible. It is week 8 preview, part 1. And where's K1? Because we made it to his favorite part. And before we're out of here, we got to do our ever popular sleeper of the week.
It's time for the Sleeper of the Week, powered by Sleeper.
Were you just flexing and maxing?
I was trying to,
Sitting in a car you spent all day waxing?
Exactly. We're going back. We're going all the way back.
That's what we do. We're going back. There's your Chris Berman reference of the day. You're with me, Leather. And guess who else is with me for Sleeper of the Week? It is week 8. It is part 2 of our week 8 preview. And Sleeper of the Week, well, hey, I mentioned him earlier, Daryl Ngabawale. Now, it may be just kind of lip service from Lovey. And this is a sleeper of the week. So this is like, what the heck flex territory. But they've mentioned how they want to use him more. Okay. I don't think it cuts into Pierce's time as a runner, Bloom, but certainly Rex Burkhead. It's 3-headed committee. It might be like 2 and a little dab, a touch, right? A spot for Rex Burkhead, who might be falling out of favor. More Daryl Ngabawale. Hell, what the hell? Throw him in. What the heck? Flex. Sleeper of the week, Daryl Ngabawale. Bloom, who you got?
Rex not in effect. Not doing the rump shaker. That's the sleeper of the week. I'm going to highlight from our Clash of the Titans, Marquise Goodwin. And I love that we're going to talk about him and his speed. And whenever you're crowding up to the line of scrimmage to take care of Kenneth Walker, the third, that's when Marquise Goodwin gets behind the defense. Some other what the heck flex plays this week. Tyler Algier, because Atlanta is facing the team that's roughly their equal. They're in first place. I keep waiting for the week, Cecil, and we might see it tonight, when the Tampa backfield balances or maybe even flips a little bit. I just think we can see that Rachaad White has a little more to offer than Leonard Fournette. Maybe not the veteran reliability of Leonard Fournette, but he has more value to add to those touches. And if they're behind Baltimore, that could be more Rachaad White. Antonio Gibson, love the new role. I think this is a game Washington's going to be very competitive. With no Mike Boone, and you're not going to ask Russell Wilson to throw the ball more than 25 times, I think. Maybe a week to nudge Melvin Gordon, Latavius Murray into your lineup. Mentioned Kareem Hunt and a potential come from behind game scripts. He a sleeper? I don't know. Jacoby Myers is interesting because Devontae Parker should be covered in sauce, and Jacoby Myers should get a lot of short receptions. I mentioned Khalil Shakir, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Darnell Mooney, we talked about in part 1 with the Cowboys and their gambling defense and the Bears incorporating more of what Lamar Jackson was doing. Maybe there is a deep shot off the play action for Darnell Mooney. And I'll mention Adam Thielen again, because Byron Murphy shut down Devontae Adams. I'm not saying he's going to shut down Justin Jefferson, but he might make Kirk Cousins look to Thielen a little more often this week.
It is the Audible, everyone. And thank you very much for doing those YouTube things. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. This morning, we were only 20 people away from 19,000 subscribers. So let's get to 19 and let's get to 20 before the new year.
Sure.
Let's do that, right? And help us grow the channel. We certainly appreciate you all out there. And thank you very much for doing those YouTube things, algorithm, YouTube overlord. So As always, he is Sigmund Bloom. I am Cecil Lammey. The show is at the Audible. Be safe, be kind, know that you are appreciated. Stay tuned. And as always, I ask that you stay frosty.